Picture a massive ship carrying hundreds or thousands of luxury sports cars from various brands crossing the vast ocean. Suddenly, it faces unexpected disasters. In just minutes, these multi-million-dollar cars burn to ashes or sink to the ocean floor due to ship accidents. In the last 10 years, about 21,900 cars have sunk or been damaged, causing losses of over $1 billion. This doesn't even include the losses from the ships themselves. In this video, we'll explore the 13 most expensive and worst car carrier ship accidents in maritime history. We'll cover destructive fires, deadly collisions, and ships capsizing with thousands of vehicles on board. Hoeg Xiamen. On June 4, 2020, a container ship named Hoeg Xiamen caught fire in Jacksonville, Florida. The incident began when crew members saw smoke coming from the ventilation room as they prepared to leave the port for Baltimore, Maryland. They found fire on Deck 8, which was full of used vehicles. The fire quickly spread to other decks and burned for days. The Jacksonville Fire and Rescue Department came to help put out the fire. The fire was so big that it took firefighters over a week to extinguish it. Sadly, 9 firefighters were injured while doing their job. However, none of the 21 crew members were hurt. The Hoeg Xiamen and its cargo of 2,420 used vehicles suffered a total loss of $40 million. In August 2020, after the rescue operation, the ship was towed to Turkey for recycling. The National Transportation Safety Board, or NTSB, found that all vehicles on the Hoeg Xiamen were electric-powered, and their batteries weren't removed and secured according to procedures. This increased the risk of electric arcs and damage to car parts. During loading, neither cargo personnel nor crew members paid attention to this issue. MV Golden Ray. MV Golden Ray was a car carrier that had transported cars through the global automotive supply chain for 2 years. This giant ship was longer than 2 football fields and as tall as a 17-story building. Powered by a massive 5,522-liter 2-stroke diesel engine with 17,335 horsepower, rotating at a relatively slow 77 RPM, this Hyundai Glovis ship could cruise the seas at a top speed of 20 knots or about 23 miles per hour. In September 2019, MV Golden Ray left the port of Brunswick, Georgia, carrying 7,742 vehicles. Unfortunately, the ship had an accident and capsized off the coast of St. Simons Island, Georgia. The incident began on September 7th, when Golden Ray entered the port. Port workers started unloading 285 Hyundai Accents and Kia Fortes from 2 decks and loading 339 new Kia Tellurides onto 3 decks of the ship. After loading finished, the ship continued its journey to Baltimore, accompanied by the tugboat Dorothy Morin. When the Golden Ray's captain felt he could control the ship, he ordered a 10-degree right turn for the 4th sea voyage. But then, the captain asked for another 20-degree right turn. That's when the ship started to lose control and began to sink. Luckily, all crew members of Golden Ray were unharmed and declared safe from the incident. Felicity Ace. Felicity Ace was a 17,700 DWT car carrier built in 2005. In February 2022, the ship was assigned to carry about 4,000 vehicles from Emden, Germany to Davisville, Rhode Island. However, on February 16, 2022, the ship caught fire, believed to have started on the car deck and then spread throughout the ship. Realizing the ship was on fire, the captain ordered the 22 crew members to abandon ship. In a few days, the fire seemed to spread from end to end of the 656-foot ship, and despite efforts to tow it, the ship was lost after drifting in the Atlantic for 2 weeks. According to the Russell Group, reports at the time of the accident estimated that losses could reach $438 million. Not only that, they also estimated that the companies of those cars suffered at least $400 million in losses, with Volkswagen having the largest portion of cars on board, totaling at least $155 million. Actually, the first lawsuit was filed in 2023 in a court in Stuttgart, Germany, where Porsche is headquartered. Meanwhile, a second lawsuit was filed in Braunschweig targeting the parent company Volkswagen Group, which owns Porsche. Of the 3,965 cars carried, the largest portion is believed to be Porsche, Audi, and VW, but reports say there were also cars from Bentley and Lamborghini on board. MV Tricolor. The Norwegian-flagged car carrier MV Tricolor experienced 3 collisions in the English Channel within 2 weeks, resulting in major damage, marine pollution, and possibly the biggest loss in the automotive export industry. In the early hours of December 14, 2002, the ship, carrying nearly 3,000 BMW, Volvo, and Saab cars, collided with Bahamas-flagged container ship named Cariba, about 20 miles north of France in the English Channel. At that time, MV Tricolor was traveling from Zeebrugge to Southampton. Although damaged, Cariba kept moving while MV Tricolor remained stuck on its side in 98-foot deep waters. Luckily, there were no casualties as all 24 crew members were rescued without injury by Cariba and another tugboat named Boxer. However, about 2,862 cars and 77 Ro-Ro cargo units, mostly consisting of tractors and crane parts, couldn't be saved. Due to this accident, the shipping lane used by MV Tricolor was closed and guarded by the French police ship Glaive and HMS Anglesey, along with several other ships, to warn other passing ships about the presence of the sunken MV Tricolor. However, it seems this guard was not tight enough, because on January 1, 2003, a cargo ship named Nicola and another ship named Vicky carrying 70,000 tons of gas oil hit the wreck of MV Tricolor, causing oil spills around the wreck. Baltic Ace. In 2018, Baltic Ace collided with the container ship Corvus J and sank about 50 nautical miles west of Rotterdam. In just 15 minutes, Baltic Ace sank, resulting in the loss of 11 crew members. The ship was carrying 1,400 cars and sank with 540,000 liters of oil at the time, ending up on its side at a depth of 35 meters and leaving only 10 to 12 meters from the surface. To avoid the pollution threat from the ship, the Dutch Ministry of Infrastructure and Environment contracted Boskalis and its partner Mammoet Salvage for the wreck removal operation. The rescue began in May 2014 and finished in October 2015, resulting in about 13,000 tons of metal and 460,000 liters of fuel being removed from the wreck. The salvagers used hot tapping to remove the fuel with methodology and heating systems developed to remove fuel from the sunken Kyung-shin tanker in Korea in 2010. The oil was heated with inserts in the bunker tanks. The wreck was then cut into 8 sections to be lifted. The same method was previously used in the salvage of MV Tricolor, a car carrier that sank in the English Channel in 2002. Hoegh Osaka. In January 2015, the car carrier Hoegh Osaka ran aground on its way from Southampton to Bremerhaven carrying 1,450 luxury cars. According to findings from marine investigators, there was a significant difference between the actual cargo weight and the estimate, making it unstable, leading to this accident. Then, a report from the Marine Accident Investigation Branch, or MAIB, said that the 51,000-ton ship left Southampton on the evening of January 3, 2015, and experienced a tilt to the right when the ship crossed West Bramble Solent. The tilt caused some cargo to shift and resulted in flooding inside the ship. When realizing his ship was tilting, the captain immediately ordered to shut off the engine. However, the ship continued to tilt up to 40 degrees, causing its rudder and propeller to come out of the water. One off-duty crew member suffered a broken arm and leg when he tripped and fell 18 meters down a corridor, hitting a door at the end. Learning from this incident, MAIB gave advice to Hoegh Autoliners to improve their internal procedures and instructions to ensure that their ship's stability is maintained throughout its operation. Cougar Ace. This is a car carrier built in Japan in 1993. The 654.6-foot-long, 55,328-ton ship is worth more than $100 million and is the largest car carrier capable of carrying more than 5,000 cars. Although owned by Japan's Mitsui O.S.K. Lines, or MOL, the Cougar Ace sailed under the Singapore flag. Unfortunately, this ship had to experience an unwanted incident. In mid-July 2006, Cougar Ace was assigned to carry 4,703 brand new Mazda cars tied to its 14 decks. Then, on July 23rd, the ship's large 15,683 horsepower diesel engine moved the ship near the Aleutian Islands towards the coast of Alaska, and then down to 3 Mazda ports along the North American west coast. Suddenly, everything started to go wrong quickly. Whether it was mechanical failure or human error, the ship experienced flooding, causing all its crew, consisting of 2 Singaporeans, 8 Myanmar citizens, and 13 Filipinos, to slide along the steel deck. Fortunately, they were all rescued. Cougar Ace itself experienced flooding and eventually tilted up to 90 degrees. Five days later, the ship had drifted 100 miles closer to the rocky shoals of the Aleutian Islands. MOL hired tugboats to pull it away and bring it to safety in Dutch Harbor, within the city limits of Unalaska, Alaska. Grande America. Grande America caught fire on March 10, 2019, while on a journey from Casablanca, Morocco to Hamburg, Germany. The ship, carrying 26 crew members and 1 passenger, sailed with cargo consisting of 2,100 vehicles. Various types of vehicles carried by the ship ranged from cars, motorhomes, trucks, buses, earthworks machinery, Western goods transport vehicles to 365 containers. This ship also carried 45 hazardous material cargoes, 16 of which were 16 different hazardous substances. This massive fire occurred in containers on the ship's deck, while the ship was sailing through the Bay of Biscay, about 140 nautical miles off the southwest coast of Brittany, France. The ship slowly sank eastward in waters 4,600 meters deep. On March 11th, 27 people on board were rescued from lifeboats by the frigate HMS Argyle, which was called to provide assistance and taken to the port of Brest. On the same day, the maritime prefect for the Atlantic ordered the operator, Grimaldi Group, to take all necessary actions to stop the dangerous situation caused by the ship in the French exclusive economic zone. On March 13th, a French Navy reconnaissance aircraft saw a large oil spill about 6 miles long and less than 1 mile wide in the wreck area, as well as about 10 containers falling into the sea. The maritime chief for the Atlantic ordered the pollution response ship Argonaut to be sent to the location and start spill response operations. To address this, about 10 ships were deployed to clean up the oil spill around the Grande America wreck. These ships consisted of ships owned or chartered by the French Navy, Spanish-owned ships, to ships owned by the European Maritime Safety Agency or EMSA. MV Modern Express. MV Modern Express is a pure car truck carrier or PCTC type ship built in 2001 in South Korea and managed by Cedo Shipping. This Panama-registered ship experienced an incident on January 26, 2016, while on its way to Le Havre, France, carrying 3,600 tons of earth-moving equipment, trucks, and logs. This accident was caused by strong winds that made Modern Express tilt 40 degrees while sailing in the Bay of Biscay, about 150 nautical miles off the coast of Spain. The Spanish Maritime Safety and Rescue Agency, known as Salvamento Maritimo, immediately responded to the Mayday call from MV Modern Express. And that afternoon, all 22 crew members were successfully rescued by 2 Spanish helicopters. This operation was carried out quickly because the ship was in a state of drifting due to being carried away by strong currents and winds. There was great concern that this ship could run aground and cause an environmental disaster. When the weather improved on February 1, 2016, a second attempt by SMIT Salvage successfully attached a tow line to MV Modern Express. The ship was towed to Bilbao, Spain, where it was straightened using its ballast tanks for 3 weeks. However, in the end, the Modern Express ship was repaired and sold to shipbreakers in Turkey. MV Diamond Highway. Built in 2004, MV Diamond Highway is a car carrier with a dead weight of 19,000 tons and a capacity of 6,354 cars. However, on June 15, 2019, the ship previously known as Utopia Ace experienced a fire incident while on its way from Singapore to the Philippines. As many as 25 Diamond Highway crew members were forced to abandon ship and were then rescued by bulk carrier. The ship burned for several days until the Philippine Coast Guard and local firefighters in the Cebu region, Central Philippines, extinguished the fire on MV Diamond Highway. After being successfully extinguished, the ship was towed to Batangas port and then reportedly be taken to Keppel shipyard for repairs. However, in December 2021, MV Diamond Highway ran aground due to Typhoon Ray, which at that time hit parts of the Philippines and killed more than 400 people. Not only that, the Diamond Highway ship also caught fire again in Punta Engano, Lapu-Lapu City, Cebu on April 28, 2023. It was known that the fire occurred due to a crew member cutting scrap metal in the right bow area. The Coast Guard reported that the scrap metal company supervisor said they had safely lowered all their personnel who had carried out scrap metal operations. The Coast Guard labeled the incident as ongoing and issued regular progress updates as the event unfolded. MV Honor. This ship caught fire after departing Southampton, England for Baltimore on February 24, 2017. The English Coast Guard said it had received notification at 3:45 a.m. and reported that the ship's fixed fire extinguishing system was used to extinguish the fire and the cargo space had been sealed. The crew continued to monitor the cargo area as the ship returned to Southampton under its own power and with full maneuverability. The ship was planned to anchor in the southeast of the Isle of Wight in the Solent. Fortunately, no crew members were injured from this incident. For information, MV Honor was built in 1997 and is one of 8 ro-ro ships operated by ARC, with ship management provided by TOOTE Services. According to TOTE, these ships primarily trade between the U.S. East Coast, Gulf Coast, and Northern Europe, with additional routes between Asia and the U.S. West Coast. ARC's U.S.-flagged vessels are part of the Maritime Security Program, or MSP, and support the U.S. military as needed. MV Courage. MV Courage is a PCTC type ship built in 1991. Basically, PCTC is a class of ship with a system that allows the ship to be quickly reconfigured to accommodate various cargoes and maximize lift capacity. This system is permanently installed, making it truly capable of operating independently. On June 2, 2015, the Courage ship experienced a massive fire while transiting from Bremerhaven, Germany to Southampton, England. The accident caused severe damage to the ship's cargo space, as well as the cargo of vehicles and household goods. Due to this incident, the owner of MV Courage suffered losses reaching $100 million and decided to dispose of the ship. According to the investigation report conducted by the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board, or NTSB, the most likely cause of this ship's fire was an electric arc on the automatic braking system, or ABS module, of the vehicles carried inside. Although almost all the vehicles inside were burned, the crew's actions in extinguishing the fire were timely and appropriate. Crew and firefighting teams were deployed immediately after the general alarm sounded. The captain, chief mate, and chief engineer correctly assessed the danger and activated the CO2 fire extinguishing system, which quickly put out the fire. The firefighting team performed boundary cooling and monitored the room temperature. They didn't try to re-access the space, which could have caused sparks. There were no casualties, and the ship was able to continue its journey to port. MV Fremantle Highway. Lastly, there is the car carrier MV Fremantle Highway that caught fire off the coast of Ameland Island, Netherlands on July 25, 2023. At that time, the ship was on its way from Bremerhaven, Germany to Port Said, Egypt, with Singapore as its final destination. On this journey, Fremantle Highway carried about 3,000 vehicles that were likely to be sold in Asia. This incident killed one sailor and injured 22 other crew members. However, several crew members managed to jump from a height of 100 feet into the sea to escape the flames. The crew members also tried to extinguish the fire themselves but were overwhelmed and eventually had to flee. According to observations from the Coast Guard, the fire on this Panama-flagged ship lasted for days. The sides of the ship were sprayed with water to cool it, but rescue ships avoided pouring too much water onto the ship due to the risk of sinking. Most likely, the cause of this ship's fire was started from the electric car batteries carried by the ship.